Hi everyone, you reached Chronicles of the Gray Hair Diva. If this is your first time, welcome. If not, welcome back. For all of you out there, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that every time I upload a video, you will be notified. Hit the like button, chat with me in the comments, and when I get an opportunity, I will chat back. And share my video with your friends and family so that they can come to my channel and get to know me also. I'm here today with a quick video. It's my tea time moment of the day. I'm having ginger, some mint, some honey in there, and some lemon, okay? Still working on curing this voice of mine. But anyway, this tea time is dedicated to none other than Brittany Spears. Brittany Spears for 13 years, okay? And you know, it reminds me, when I say 13 years, it reminds me of that movie 13 Years a Slave, okay? So, because Brittany Spears kind of felt like that under her father's thumb, right? For 13 years, her father controlled her life. Where she went, what she did, who she had sex with, if she had sex, had her on birth control. I mean, he had her under lock and key. But not just because he wanted to have her under lock and key. Had her under lock and key because she had a mental breakdown, okay? A sort of a psychotic moment. And he felt that, you know what, she needed to be watched. Now, it was a big debate. Did she need to be under that lock and key for 13 years the way she was? Did she have to be heavily medicated the way she was? Well, Brittany felt no, and so did all her fans. So much so that they was helping with the cause, saying, free Brittany, free Brittany, free Brittany. Well, listen, guys, sometimes the right message comes from the wrong person, and because it's coming from the wrong person, people refuse to hear the message. Could this be the case with Jamie Spears, Brittany Spears' dad? Could he have been just a bad overseer, but maybe the truth remains that she does need an overseer? So she got freed, I'm going to say, what was it, November 12th or 13th, 2021? And ever since she got freed, we've seen some erratic, crazy behavior. But we turned a blind eye to it. Why? Because everybody was like, free Brittany, free Brittany, free Brittany. And if we dare say, oh, we made a mistake saying free Brittany, we don't want to do that because nobody wants to admit to a mistake, right? So we just act like it's normal. Oh, she needs time. She's been under lock and key for 13 years. Of course, she's going to dance in her underclothes or with barely anything on. Of course, she's going to make these crazy videos. She's just being Brittany. She's free. And then she marries this Sam. And I said to myself, I gave him the side eye. I gave him the side eye because normally, for the most part, no one wakes up and say they're going to marry someone that they know has some issues. I mean, usually you walk into a marriage and you get blindsided. A couple days later, you're like, oh my God, you're crazy. Like, oh my God, I didn't see that side of you before. Oh my God, I saw a little bit of that in you, but I didn't know it was full-blown problem. We get shocked by the stuff we see after we say I do. But not many people like Sam walks into an I do knowing it's going to be work. So he did that. Knowing Brittany had the issues that he was like, I do. So we press the fast forward button in 2023. These two go to a restaurant. And they're upset because people in the restaurant recognize them, pulling out the cell phones, taking videos, saying stuff. Brittany's, they're saying, was saying gibberish, acting incoherent. They said Sam got pissed off, left her in the restaurant. But he say, nah, I didn't just leave her. I went to get the car. But they had a bodyguard with them. So let's hear what TMZ had to say about this situation. And then I'm going to give you my final thoughts. So hold on, guys. Let me see if I could play this for y'all.
Okay, we are going to move on to Brittany Spears. So over the weekend, we did a story on the website that she went to a restaurant with her husband, Sam Asghari. And when she went there, it was in Woodland Hills. There were eyewitnesses in this restaurant who say that a couple of people, maybe even more than a couple, pulled out cell phones when she walked in, and they started shooting her, even aggressively, and it pissed her off. So what the eyewitnesses are saying is she started talking gibberish. And it wasn't English, back in the day was talking in an English accent. This wasn't any language. It was just gibberish. And they say Sam just got really fed up and just stormed out.
Could you tell? Because I couldn't determine whether he was fed up with Brittany or with the inundation of cameras and fans.
Well, he says they have come out and they've said, no, that didn't happen. It wasn't the way you think. It was, Sam says he just walked out to the car.
Right. But he left her behind.
He left her behind.
And she still had a menu in her hand.
And she still had a menu in her hand.
Yeah, no. We know what happened. And then she starts engaging in this weird way with the very people who were filming her all along. And speaking from what you could tell in the video, in that same sort of gibberish, you couldn't understand what she was saying.
Right.
It can't help but cause some concern, right?
I have talked to some people over the weekend who have said there is concern.
Yeah.
And look, everybody wants the best for her. I think there's no animus. I haven't heard, it's funny because there's no animus around Brittany. It's, is she okay? Is she not okay? Is really the issue. And look, there are issues that she's had, obviously, that put her in a conservatorship, and she seemed okay enough to take her out of one, but that was contingent. Not necessarily contingent, but there was an assumption that she would continue on with her regimes, with medicine and therapy and everything else. And we don't know, but there is concern.
Can't we get to a point where we can acknowledge two things? Number one, that Jamie was not a great conservator. That he, at least for her, and she made some serious allegations about his conduct, which may or may not be true. He denies it all, but whatever. That it wasn't a good relationship, and it was good that aspect of the conservatorship ended. Maybe she still needs somebody to watch over her who's not just her husband. Given, and it's not the first time, right? We've seen some really bizarre behavior. She came out after this and said that, I know the news is all hyped about me being a little drunk at a restaurant. There's full denial about what was happening there. This was not somebody a little bit drunk. This was somebody, from what you can tell from the video and the stories that come out, that was, again, the speaking gibberish. I've been a little drunk a lot of times. I don't think I've ever spoken gibberish. Maybe a lot of drunk, but that doesn't seem to be what's happening here either.
Here's the issue too, that nobody would dare try and reestablish anything like a conservatorship because politically you just can't do it right now, especially with her.
Yeah.
So, hopefully there's going to be a support system around her, because the reality is, to establish one again, just who's going to do that?
Right, it's not going to happen.
Who's going to do that? What judge is going to say okay?
Right.
Judges are elected.
Unless we get to a point, right, where she is where they believed once upon a time that she was a danger to herself, but we don't seem to be there.
I get it, but what I'm saying is, the way the world works. Judges are elected in California.
Yeah.
And there will be a movement, if any judge approves it, a movement to oust the judge.
Yeah. And
there are some judges that will say, I don't care about elections, I care about the law.
Sure.
And some will do it and some won't. And we know that.
But the first,
I'm not saying she should have a conservatorship right now. I'm just saying the reality is, I don't think it's ever going to happen again. I just don't.
I think that's right. But you'd also have to have some. Who's the family members?
Who is the family member? Because the family.
Jamie's sure not going to do it. He has
Jamie
no
would
credibility.
Never,
right.
Jamie would never. Well, but remember, Jamie also saved her life at the beginning.
Right.
And it did work for a while.
Yeah.
It just didn't
And in
work.
fact, she came out a couple weeks ago and sort of made a bit of what you could interpret to be a peace offering, where she maybe suggested that she wanted to reconcile with her family.
The weird thing? There is a connection between Brittany and Prince Harry.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
No, I'll tell you, there really is, and I thought about it just the last day or so. Prince Harry has railed on his family, but then in the next breath will say, I want a reconciliation, I love my brother, I love my father,
Right.
I want, I want to have a relationship with them again. Brittany has done the same thing. She said that, railed on her family, and then at times, I love you, and you feel like it goes back.
Well, you know what they're both saying. I want a relationship with my family as long as they accept that relationship on my terms. I don't want the relationship on their terms. I don't want to meet them halfway. Prince Harry's saying, if my family will just accept me for who I am, allow me to live my life in California with my wife, and give me my royal titles back, and leave me alone in the press, and don't worry when I talk about them in the press, then I want a relationship with my family.
And defend me when they go after me.
And defend me when they go after me, and never say anything bad about me, but despite the fact I say bad things about you, then I want a relationship with my family. Brittany's sort of saying the same thing, although you have this overlay of this mental illness that really complicates it tremendously.
Yeah. And you know, again, well, you know what? I'm not going to get into Prince Harry, but I do want to say one thing. I was thinking one thing over the weekend.
Yeah.
You know, he did make, you know, there are some serious allegations that he made that really need to be taken seriously. And then you get into the brother stuff, and it's like, he pushed me, he screamed at me.
He broke my
It's like,
necklace.
dude, it's like, this happens in every family.
Yeah.
And, you know, and he's talking about, you know, the heartbreak that he feels for William's second kid because he's the spare.
Yeah.
That's not. What kind of a cross is that to bear? I get that you're not gonna be king, but what's the difference between that and you've got 4 kids in a family and one of them takes over the family business when the dad dies?
For Harry to complain about his life, I mean, I get it. It may not have been all perfect, and his mother died early, which is an unimaginable tragedy.
That's you can understand the grief and the trauma and everything else.
100%. But for him to complain about it, while nevertheless taking his tens of millions to California and starting to make movies because of who he is and because of the money he took, the whole thing drives me insane.
Okay, you know what? They tied in Prince Harry to the end of that conversation, but the gist of it is, you know, there's a correlation between Prince Harry and Brittany Spears in terms of them crying out, "I hate you," and then crying out, "Can we kiss, hug, and make up?" But I want to get back to her and her husband for a minute. When you're a celebrity, let's be clear, wherever you go, if people see you and recognize you, they're going to start pulling out their cameras. Is it right for them to get out of control? Is it right for them to be crazy with it? Absolutely not. But do you see Beyonce and Jay-Z just going to your local restaurant with the kids ordering pasta? You don't, because they get it. They're celebrities, right? You can't just roll up to any restaurant and then expect, if you're going to be sitting with the common folk, that the common folk not going to pull out their phone and tell their friends, "Hey, you won't believe this. Sitting here eating my pasta. The server passed me and they see that Brittany Spears and their husband." Come on now. So then Brittany gets pissed. Then the husband gets pissed. He walks out because he's probably pissed about her behavior. But he tried to clean it up the next day and say, "No, wasn't pissed because of her behavior. I went to go get the car so we could leave the restaurant." So your wife is sitting there being hounded by fans, and you don't stay in there protect her. You had a bodyguard, but you tell the bodyguard, "Go get the car. I'm going to stay here with Brittany. When you got the car in the front, text me, and then me and Brittany going to walk out and get right in the car." But you go get the car and you leave your wife unprotected with all of these people taking photos and videos of her, and you know she's speaking gibberish. Sam, you get an F. You know better than her father, Jamie Spears. At least he kept her in the house and hidden. You got her out in these streets, vulnerable, going to a restaurant, right, Sam? Because you want to have a regular relationship. Well, that's not what you signed up for. When you signed up to marry Brittany Spears, you knew full well that she was a mess. So now you can't pretend like she's regular and take her to a restaurant and not expect her to have a breakdown when she's being exposed to the very things that trigger her. This one is on you, Sam. I blame you. You messed up. Then you want to try to clean it up later. "No, I didn't get mad at her. I wasn't trying to leave her. I just went to get the car." Nonsense. Now, do I think that Brittany Spears needs an overseer and that overseer doesn't need to be the husband? I ain't trying to have y'all beat me down, but this is just my opinion. Something more needs to be done. She said she was a little drunk. That was her cleanup. She said, "What's the big deal? I was drunk, a little drunk. I was having fun." Again, even if we want to roll with she was a little drunk, why did they go have dinner in those streets? Sam, you get an F. But I don't think she was a little drunk. I think it was just, and I'm not talking, I think it's just her manic behavior. She has a mental illness. And if the mental illness is not controlled in the right way, she has these breakdowns. Her father, Jamie Spears, knew it. Now her husband, Sam, knows it 100% firsthand. But he too, he's not going to come out and say we messed up. Because he too, free Brittany, free Brittany, free Brittany. So we could get married, so we can have kids. It's a mess, guys. Chat with me in the comments, and when I get an opportunity, I will chat back. How would I resolve this situation? This one is kind of hard because there's a lot of underlying mental health conditions that need to be controlled by a doctor. And when they get controlled by a doctor, she can't miss a medication. And her husband, Sam, he needs to wake up and realize, I didn't marry Brittany Spears, the pop star that I saw on TV. I married Brittany Spears, a human being that has a severe mental illness that has to be monitored 24/7. And I have to be mindful of what trigger her and not bring her to those triggers. Thanks, guys, for watching. Hit that like button. Chat with me in the comments. And when I get an opportunity, I will chat back. And I'll see you on the next video.